So at 40 years of age, we know that roughly 80% of the embryos that you produce will be genetically not normal, aneuploid. And so off the hop, you know that you need 5 blastocysts to find one that's genetically normal. And obviously you need a minimum of 1 embryo that's normal in order to get pregnant. Now, easily you can argue you actually probably need 2 or 3, but the math is easy. You can just multiply at the end. So we need 1 for sure. So I need 5 blastocysts. In order to get 5 blastocysts, you probably in most programs need to start with somewhere between 8 to 10 fertilized eggs, out of which somewhere between 60, 70, maybe as low as 40, 50% will become blastocysts. And in order to get 8 to 10 fertilized eggs, you probably need to start with 10 to 12 in a really top-notch program, more in a less sophisticated program. But let's say average 10. So you need to start with 10 eggs, you know, maybe 12. You're going to fertilize 8 to 10 of them. They're going to turn into 5 blastocysts, hopefully, and one of those blastocysts will be normal. So the math then becomes, how many eggs do you have? If you're a 40-year-old woman who has a very high AMH, let's say 20 picomoles per liter, you might get away with 1 cycle and have enough embryos that you never need to do it again. Because you're going to make me 20 eggs, I've already got more than I need. I'll probably produce you 2 or 3 euploid embryos, and we are golden. If, however, your AMH is lower, and it's, let's say, 4, and our anticipation is going to be that you're going to make 4 eggs at a time, you need 3 cycles of IVF just to produce 1 euploid embryo. Now, science has evolved at a rapid pace. And just recently, we reviewed an article from a group that developed an algorithm that they then plugged into an app, and it's readily available on the app stores. And it's called Fortune IVF. So Fortune IVF. I think it's -IVF. And they did huge data analysis on thousands of cycles. And their metric was, what is your percentage chance based on certain markers, biometric markers, that you would end up with at least 1 euploid embryo from 3 cycles of IVF? It actually precisely answers your question that you're asking here. And they categorized people into different groupings, and I believe there were 5. You can be very low, low, medium, high, very high. I think that's the breakdown. And so what they found was that if you were in the very low category, you actually had a 0% chance of developing a euploid embryo even after 3 rounds of IVF. And so this is now very valid, important data to share with patients, because you can actually predict in advance of them ever starting what their chances are. And I presented this at the meeting I was at on the weekend, and some of the other doctors who were absolutely mortified that I had shared this said, well, you know, every patient's different. And that's true, but this is like very well done data. And it was validated after they generated the model on a prospective cohort of patients. They know that it's valid. So, I mean, everybody is different, and I think it's great to individualize, but it's also good to be transparent and offer people, you know, healthy, rational, honest advice. So we can now give people a good understanding of what to expect. I can't tell every 40-year-old they need to prepare for 3 cycles. I would certainly say most need to prepare for a minimum of 3, but it very much depends on the patient. And it's not just their AMH. It could be their age, their AMH, their BMI, their partner's sperm quality, their own BMI, what their habits are like. You know, you get a smoker, that's an 80% reduction in success. I don't even let them begin. Like, we literally don't let them start. So I think all of these things have to factor into the calculus before you say yay or nay.